Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Red with a Splash of White podcast. It's episode number 5, and of course, once again, we're looking back at the previous round of fixtures, which was Liverpool, Spurs, City, West Brom, etc., etc. And of course, I think the big news of the week was Frank Lampard getting sacked by Chelsea, to the delight of the footballing world, apart from Chelsea fans. But we'll come to that later on, I'm sure. So starting off, obviously, Spurs Liverpool. 3-1. I mean, what was the big difference between the Burnley game, of course, which he's lost, and the Spurs game?
Take us away, Clint.
Finally being able to get crosses. Right. The ball. Some of the balls that we played started off the game a bit rough with the passing, but we were pressured constantly. The Trent really getting back into his performing very well. Obviously with the goal and the great cross, long field ball for the assist.
Yeah,
Firmino 5 goals and the man I go and do. Firmino 5 goals in 7 games against Tottenham now. So he's been great against Tottenham.
Mm-hmm.
It finally all got together. It's finally, after all that period of sadness, it's finally came together.
I suppose that's as good a way as any.
It's just said the same thing twice.
Sorry, before you step on, Klein, you made the point that the crosses were getting right. One of the things that I noticed last night when watching the game was there wasn't as many crosses. It wasn't like a head and hope. You know, I mean, Harper, what do you think?
Exactly.
Harper, do you agree with that? Was that the difference?
Yeah, there's far less crosses. I think it's been the last few games or amount of crosses have dropped dramatically, which I think has helped our overall play. Or even last night, our passing was much crisper and sharper. Caused Spurs a lot more problems rather than just hitting hopeful balls into the box with nobody to get on the end of them. Really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, talking about Spurs, and they only had 3 shots and 2 on target. Once again, Mourinho really getting that negative football. I mean, he got it all wrong, really, but it was so negative. I mean, whenever you have Kane and Son up front, there's got to be more than 3 shots and 2 on target in terms of the rest of the team, maybe.
I was chatting to boys and work all week about that, whether Mourinho would be brave and go all out since we weren't playing too well, or would he stick to his guns and go defensive? And he did, and it did not pay off. Bar the first 5 minutes, we dominated that match.
Yeah.
And then I think even when Kane went off, if they don't have Kane and Son on the pitch, they look lost, especially going forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
And nothing off the bench either, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Spurs, as much as Mourinho plays defensive football, the only chances they really got was literally Kane and Son linking up. Yeah. I mean, the Son goal that was, of course, was disallowed was just Kane getting it and just playing an unbelievable ball over the top, and Son getting on the end of it. So yeah, I mean, what do we think? Spurs' defense again really let them down, I think, at times. I mean, Eric Dyer is just, excuse the pun, absolutely dire.
Yeah.
What is he doing anywhere near that starting lineup? Is it injuries or what do we think?
Go ahead, Glenn, you can start.
Well, if you have to, you can't blame the whole thing on him realistically. Like if you look there on their Rodon was he had some good spots, but other times it was absolutely brutal. He had a great cutout. I remember that. Davies playing centre back. He's played okay, but look at their bench. They have Alderweireld on the bench, Davison Sanchez on the bench. Like why is he playing these young players when they has quality there waiting?
Yeah, I mean,
it's what you have to think about.
Sorry, go ahead.
I sort of agree. I agree with Klein there as well. But Dyer's just a Mourinho player. Strong, tall, just dirty. Like he says, he's just a Mourinho player. But he's brutal.
Yeah, I mean, you look. He started with 2 right backs in Serge Aurier and Matt Doherty, and as Klein really said, he has Toby Alderweireld on the bench, and Davinson Sanchez.
Mhm.
I think that's a real kick in the teeth for
He
Davinson
wouldn't be
Sanchez.
happy. Like he would not be happy.
Exactly. I mean, you going back to their lineup against Wickham, Alderweireld and Sanchez both started in a cup game against a championship side that shouldn't even be a championship side.
Shouldn't even be. Yep.
Why? And Davis also started that game as well. Why didn't he start Dyer and Rudon there and then save them other two for this game? I think there's got to be genuine questions of Mourinho's selection for definite.
Certainly, he does have to be questioned
Mm-hmm.
about that, but he won't.
Is it Tottenham going for Is it Tottenham trying to put all their eggs in their basket to try and get a cup run? But
They might need a trophy.
The point is that they have the point is that they have to do that against Wickham.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no matter what they would have, no matter what really they would have beat Wickham there. Look.
Yeah, you'd have expected their class and sort of quality to shine through in the end. Moving back to Liverpool, that's your first goal scored of the year, which is in the Premier League. That's which is excellent. But I think the real question I'm going to have for you is Matip and Fabinho are now both out. Obviously, Fabinho before the game and Matip during the game was taken off. Maybe that was a precautionary measure. Who you have a few days to go in the transfer window. Who would you like to see signed?
I think Botman from Lille. Like, obviously I haven't watched much of them, but it seems a tall player. He seems quick. He could probably slot in there. I'd take anybody. We're getting like with Mustafi. I'd take him. There's a mistake in him, but you just need somebody to recognise centre half in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think now we will sign one. I feel we will.
You should need to. I mean, there was obviously lots of sources saying the Klopp said, "I want a centre half now." After the game, Klein, who would you like to see apart from obviously Botman being mentioned there? Is there anybody that you would really like to see come under the?
It might be a chance, but I did see the New York Post talking about Kouyaté, Leipzig.
Oh, Kounate.
Centre half.
Yeah.
I think that's a summer move. I think that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Would you? But if you could, would you take him over Livramento?
A couple of things. If it was, I think it's ceiling, but I think Kouyaté is going to have a better chance.
Yeah.
To be signed.
Mm-hmm, yeah, I mean, there's Livramento's been courted by loads of teams in Europe in general. He's obviously a very good player, but yeah, I think I would agree with you. I think Kounate is probably it's obviously your preferred choice. Obviously, I mean, I don't really know. I mean, I think I'll come on to them later on, but I mean, what about, say, for example, Ben Mee or Tarkowski from Burnley? I know we're not big fans of Burnley, but if say that you get them for a cut deal price,
Tarkowski maybe wouldn't take Ben Mee.
Yeah.
Tarkowski would.
No.
I seen a poll on Twitter last night. It was, would we take John Evans? And most fans voted no, which I was shocked by. Who wouldn't want? Why would you not want John Evans?
Yeah, exactly.
John Evans every day. Definitely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And then round Twitter last night they're saying it looks like Kounate, the Klopp wants Kounate to partner Van Dijk. That'll probably be a summer move, but I'd rather have Gomez and somebody maybe challenging Gomez. I wouldn't want to drop Gomez to the bench.
Yeah, I mean,
unless a man comes out obviously unless a man comes out and proves he's better. Of course.
Yeah, exactly. I think obviously I suppose the argument would be Gomez pushes the right back, but you've told me countless times whenever I argue for Ben White going to Liverpool, Trent pushes into the midfield and Gomez to right back, that Gomez just isn't good enough at right back, which is
doesn't suit him yet.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, an interesting few days. I would say in the next podcast we'll probably be talking about Liverpool's new signing. Hopefully, I mean, obviously for you two, hopefully you bring in someone. I mean, I think moving on, we've covered enough everything there. Moving on from a defence that is in dire need of signings to a defence that has really, in their own way, shown this season in Manchester City's. They beat West Bromwich Albion 5-0. City once again just hitting their stride, really.
They're playing great stuff.
Well,
they're playing great stuff. I think I'll probably say myself now. They're big. I think they'd be big favourites now for the league. People mightn't agree with that, but that's where my head's at the minute. They just don't look like losing at the minute, even without playing without a recognised striker. That backline's playing with so much confidence, and even the other night, like the West Brom didn't have a look in.
Yeah.
Mm.
What do you think about Gundogan or Hundogan, whatever you want to say, however you pronounce it? He got a brace there at, in that game with Kevin De Bruyne obviously been out now for a few weeks. Do you think it could be the difference?
100%. I've said a couple of times in the podcast, and he's had a season. He's going to continue. I think they play in form. Obviously, the midfield the other night was Silva, Rodri, and Gundogan. He's really impressed me. I definitely think he's going to be possibly now. De Bruyne's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. He's going to be the difference. He's just going to probably keep scoring goals. He's going to keep out.
Obviously, I mean, we have to give massive credit to Man City. They've just absolutely tore teams to shreds, and obviously West Brom being that team. In the reverse fixture, which was of course Slaven Bilic's last game for West Brom, in an absolutely baffling decision where he was then sacked, they drew 1-1. Do we think Big Sam can keep them up?
I'm going to say yeah. He's proved, like, came down, got a result. Obviously, that was a miracle. He done that. He went to the likes of Wolves and scored goals.
3-2-1.
19 the deal. It's not impossible.
No, exactly.
I think they signed a boy of the day. I think it's Degana or something. I kind of mind his name. So maybe get a couple of new fresh faces in there. Might give the whole squad a boost, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Klein, what do you think? Do you think they should have kept Bilic, or do you think that getting Big Sam in was the right decision?
Well, looking at it now, you can really argue it either way. Sam's getting them results, but you probably argue is he getting them players signed? Would Bilic have signed these new players? Coming on, he's obviously got Snodgrass, and obviously that's signing today. I think they needed a fresh face now looking at it. I think Bilic was playing the same type of football. He was not getting really anything out of it. But now Sam's came in. He has obviously got the players to improve their playing. So yeah, definitely. I think it is the right decision now at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the argument there that, you know, getting them fresh faces in January maybe made the difference. I think that was one of Bilic's real gripes with the West Brom board, was that they didn't back him in the summer. You know, you look at sort of, obviously Leeds made big signings in the summer, made big moves. I'm not sure about Fulham. I haven't really looked at their transfers, but I suppose Fulham had made big signings before the last time they won the Premier League, so it balanced itself out. But yeah, it seems to be going the right way for them. And as much as we don't like to see any of the see Big Sam's football in the Premier League, is the same as Sean Dyche, we have to sort of, as you both said, that he's doing a good job and he's keeping them up. So I think moving on again from the least biggest shock of the week in that City result to the big shock of the week, or was it a big shock? Ian, Man United versus Sheffield United, where Sheffield United won 2-1. We're going to come on to United, obviously, but is there hope for Sheffield United?
I think it was their their owner came out and said, "Is it too late, or is it the start of something extraordinary?" It probably is too late, but if they give them credit, it was a class result for them. The fans would have enjoyed that. Even I watched, sort of seen the first half of that game. Sheffield United started very bright, and they kind of control midfield, which gave me some hope. Thought right, they might at least they might score. But never in a million years I think they'd win, even when they won 1-0 up. I thought, well, United's still going to find a way back into this, but shows they're playing for Wilder.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've also talked about weeks ago that if they were going to get rid of Sheffield, or not Sheffield, sorry, Chris Wilder, who would they bring in? But as you say, they're playing for them. What went wrong in defence, do we think? For United, sorry, for Man United.
I don't think it was the inexperience. Sorry, I don't think it was the inexperience of Tuanzebe. He did make a couple of errors, but I think there was just the fact that they just made errors. They just made bad errors. The corner was a good goal from Caden Bryan. And the second was another good goal. So I don't really think it was massive defensive errors. I just think it was the fact that they were realistically they just played off. They weren't played off the park. They played well in the first half, but it was just the fact that Sheffield got the better of them at this point. I think it might not be a fluke one, but it could just be the fact that they were finally getting a chance on goal and they took it.
The second goal for Sheffield United, it was abysmal defending. But United, if you see the highlights, I don't know, they were all just standing still.
They were walking about, to be fair.
No pressure.
Yeah. Do we think then that some of the blame has to be maybe put on Maguire to maybe organise the defence and sort of make sure they do that pressing that when they should be, but also do we need to again ask questions of Ole? If maybe he was a little bit more tactically aware or tactically astute, the defence wouldn't have been in that position to not press.
I think that one's on the play. There's only so much you can coach. That's simple. Mm-hmm. That's simple stuff from the other night.
Yeah, it's basic stuff that you're taught when you're young.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think I'll come back to Tuanzebe and sort of what went on the day after, which is just brutal. But why do we think? And I think maybe need a United fans' perspective on this. Why is Ole not using Van de Beek as much as he should be? I think
he was brought in to replace Pogba, and Pogba's now starting to play well, and he still might leave, but I think that's what his plan. I don't know if Ole necessarily really want him. He doesn't seem to fancy him.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Klein, if you were to bring him in, would you replace him for Pogba, or would you play him as along with Pogba and maybe Fernandes?
That's the thing. You have to look at it. They have players that are performing well, and Fred, McTominay, Matic just came back, obviously. But I think you have to look at the fact he was a proven commodity when he was at Ajax. He was a great player at Ajax. He did play very well. The fact that they have to bring him in and play him. There was no even with the players playing well, he is arguably a better player than Fred and McTominay. So I think 100% they should be playing alongside Pogba. Whether it does come to the fact if Pogba does leave in the summer, he will then start to hunt definitely, I think, in my mind. But maybe it is the fact too, you have to look at the same fact of Werner and Havertz. He has to adjust to the league. Maybe he's not ready for the league the same way they haven't been playing that well. Maybe.
I mean, it's a valid point, but I think I would argue against that in that he hasn't had the playing time to adjust to the league. Werner and Havertz were played constantly for that first half of the season, just haven't been up to it. Whereas Ole hasn't played him enough to sort of give him a consistent run to get used to it.
100%.
So the main question is too.
No, go ahead, sorry.
Is Van der Beek, is he good enough for Man United? That's my question. Is he good enough to play for Man United week in, week out?
There we are. I think, and that's probably where a United fans' perspective, who watches them week in, week out, would be able to tell us that. It's a good question.
Like if Pogba leaves and he goes in there's going to be a huge drop off. And obviously, Pogba's not done it year in, year out. But you'd certainly notice a drop off in quality, I think, if Pogba left and Van der Beek went in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you talk about Pogba, and obviously his time at Juventus, he was world class. Donny van de Beek he was good in a good Ajax team, but I don't know if you can say world class in the same way that you sort of talked about De Ligt or Ziyech.
Yep.
What about De Gea? I was chatting to a fellow in work, and he's a United fan. I think he's saying now, can they even sell De Gea? Where's he going to go, and much money are they going to get for him?
Yeah, because obviously years ago there was obviously the Real Madrid thing, before they signed Courtois and that whole. I mean, the amount of money they would have got from then. But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I don't know. I think De Gea's a tough one. I think he still has it, but I don't think he's what he once was. We discussed this a few weeks ago.
If you look at the big sides around the international leagues now, you have Atletico have Oblak, Madrid have Courtois, Barcelona have Ter Stegen, Juventus have Szczesny, AC Milan have Donnarumma. Every big team has a good goalkeeper now at this point, so he's either going to go to maybe a Spanish, you wouldn't say second tier side, but teams like Valencia, teams like that there that possibly could buy him.
Yep.
It's just a question of who does it. Napoli, maybe.
Madrid still might fancy him, probably.
Yeah, and of course
they could do.
We're forgetting the fact that he came from Atletico Bilbao. Do we think he could maybe go back there? But then the question behind Bilbao is the money, because Bilbao is just such a Basque-based team. That's where they get most of their players, obviously through the youth ranks. The big question of money, then, of course. But yeah, I think just to finish off on the United game, I think we're obviously all in unanimous agreement here that the racist abuse towards Tuanzebe is just sickening. Like, it's absolutely appalling.
Martial got thrown into it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Sawyer from West Brom had it as well.
Yep.
I seen that came up today, as was reported to the police by West Brom.
Wow. I think, again, there's no room for it at all, and to be in 2021,
absolutely disgraceful,
and have people who genuinely judge a player and what he's done on based on his skin colour is just.
It's too easy though. It's too easy to go on your Twitter and you just write a post. Nothing gets done.
Exactly.
Nothing at all.
Keyboard warrior, I suppose, is the perfect description.
Yeah.
So, moving on from the United game to a surprise high-scoring game of the week in Burnley against Villa. Burnley won 3-2. I mean, we've just sat for a few weeks slating Sean Dyche and the football that he plays, and then he goes and does that. But I mean, I don't think. I mean, when you look at the stats, it wasn't really Sean Dyche changed it up. He just played the same football, and just Villa were just really poor at the back, I think.
Yeah. Villa dominated that full game. I think Dean Smith was saying they should have had it wrapped up at half time. I couldn't believe myself seeing it. I thought Villa 1-0 and then 2-1 up. So I was glad, because I hate Sean Dyche, as he's getting called out on Twitter by Burnley. But fair play to him, has to be said.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there obviously there's been questions of Sean Dyche and Burnley's defence all season. Do we now maybe look at questioning Villa's defence? Wee bit shaky, or am I just sort of jumping on this? Sort of, they just lost 3-2, so they're not that great.
Probably just an off game.
Well, you have to look at it.
Not going to headline.
It probably is. You have to look at it too. They've played well together. Maybe as to the point, maybe they have to bring in some new defenders in the next season. They'll obviously be up, in the league. Cash has been good. Consa and Mings have played well together, and Target's got a great. Target's been getting assists for the team a lot. He's coming down that left-hand side. They're a good group of players, but it's the fact that Villa need to start to adapt, bring in more Premier League talent. I think they need. I think in the summer they might need to target a defender definitely. But it is probably just a lapse. It probably is just a lapse game because any other time they've been very good.
I really like Konza at the back.
Yeah, great.
I think in a few years he could move to top 4, top 6 club. He's a defender you want, tall, quick and strong, good in the ball. No, that's good for Villa having him in there.
Yeah, I mean, let's sort of. I obviously talked about me and Tarkowski when we were going to Liverpool, but if Burnley went down this season, which is as the weeks go by looking less and less likely, but it's a shock season at the same time, so God knows. Would Villa be wise in going for one of me or Tarkowski to partner Konsa?
No, probably not. Tarkowski, go Tarkowski. I think Tarkowski's a good bit ahead of Ben Mee. And if Burnley get relegated, I don't it cost that much. You might have to go maybe 20 million for him, but you bring him out at 20 million if he's the boss. It's 20 million. 20 million is nothing nowadays now for
exactly
fees. You could do, why not?
Yeah, but then of course I'm just sort of discounting Mings. I mean, I think I'm a big fan of Mings. I mean, he's obviously, as you say, he's maybe had his off games recently, but I'm a big fan of him. I know I've just asked if he should be kicked out in favour of one of those two.
You just want him for Leeds, that's what it's crack on.
I would love him. Well, see, Llorente's made of glass, so yeah, I think I would take him at Leeds. I wouldn't mind him at Leeds. I think him with Koch would be an interesting partnership to say the least. So moving on from 1-3-2 scoreline to another 3-2 scoreline in Palace versus West Ham. I mean, before we go any further, I think we have to take our hats off to David Moyes and the job that he's done.
Fantastic.
Definitely.
Yeah, they're 2 points off top 4. Has Moyes maybe found his sort of, how he was obviously at Everton for years? Has Moyes maybe found his Everton again? Sort of, he could stick with West Ham for a while.
I think he will. He definitely will stay for a while. Unless obviously West Ham go downhill, which is, you never know, it could happen any day.
Yeah.
But he's got a great group of players now. I think he's got a system working for them as well. Unfortunately, he couldn't get Haller working for him, and Haller's been playing very well now for Ajax. But Souček again,
outstanding,
very, very, very well. A great player. Antonio filling in for that striker role. Obviously, it's not filling in. He played there before Haller arrived.
Yep.
I think they've got to the point now that they've got a great group of players again. Fornals has been playing pretty well recently. Just that two in the holding midfielder, Souček and Rice they're just playing. It's just keeping them very well protected at the back. Unfortunately, that's concede 2, but they've got a good thing going.
That backline's doing very well. Like, there's a few unnoticed players like Sufal, right point. I've never even heard of him till this season. I don't even know where he came from.
Exactly.
Balbuena.
Slavia Praha, I think.
Was it? That just shows you it wasn't a bad sign. Balbuena, boys like that.
Yeah.
They're stepping up the plate, and even you say, they're a few points now off top 4.
Even if you look at Cresswell, I mean, Cresswell's really, he's getting on in years now, but he's adapting his game, and he's become a really solid Premier League player.
Doing that. Oh, finish up.
No, I was going to move on, but no, go ahead. You're
they're getting that nice solid at the back now, and they're bringing in more flair players up top. Your Fornals and Ben Rama, boys like that.
Yeah, Ben Rama.
It's a good mixture. That's permanent now.
Yeah, permanent. Well, there we are. Happy days. I mean,
and then Lingard.
That's again a great signing. We haven't talked about Palace. I know, Harper, you said last week, or I don't know if it was in the podcast or just sort of text or
Yeah.
whatever, that Roy Hodgson
Right.
is on a very thin ice. Do we think?
I think they might give them end this year. Where is the table?
Mm.
Or to end this year, and they might. They're not going to go down, but
No.
I think they're just running out of patience and probably bring somebody else in.
Yeah, absolutely. They only had 3 shots on target, but I mean that's showing that they're a clinical side.
Yeah.
When they're getting their chances, but that's down to the quality, I think, of Zaha and even of course Batshuayi coming off the bench. He's done really well. What do we think that Roy can do to maybe change sort of Palace's fortunes, so to speak?
I think he needs to do a switch up on the formation, to be honest. I think the flat 4-4-2, we either playing Zaha or Eze on the wing. I think it doesn't work. I think they need Zaha on that side on the wing, and I think they need to start playing Eze through the middle. Maybe in a 4-1-2-1-2 with Milivojevic in behind them in the defensive mid role. I think they just need to shake it up. I think they need to starting Batshuayi. I think it would either be Batshuayi and Benteke or Batshuayi and Ayew. But Benteke's played good. Benteke's played decent this season. He's been a good front man for them, so they probably would start him. But I think the changing system would give him a fresh perspective that they would need.
Absolutely.
I think a good solid 4-2-3-1, sort of like the old Palace. Get Milivojevic and somebody sitting alongside him. Get Zaha on one wing. Townsend still there, isn't he? Is he gone?
I think he's still there. Maybe he's injured.
Get them bombing up the wings.
He's playing right.
Get Eze in behind Benteke. Get crosses in the box. Just fast pace and just liven it up a bit.
Yeah. So there's a hope, I suppose, for Palace that they could change the system up, but it's up to Roy to sort of do that.
And bring in a centre half maybe or something.
Yeah. So moving on from Palace, Palace West Ham, we'll go on to the Saints versus Arsenal game, which finished up 3-1 to Arsenal. I mean that's now Arsenal are 6 unbeaten in the league. Arteta's really turned it around there, to be fair to him.
Well, it was.
He has indeed.
No.
You got
ahead.
No,
go ahead. You're grand.
All right. Right. Well, you have to look at it now. He's got the team playing ever since they beat Chelsea. It's great. Even without Aubameyang, getting a good one, even after losing to them in the cup a couple of days ago, at the weekend. It's a good start of the young talent getting more game time. Obviously, with the new sign Odegaard, it will be very interesting to see where Odegaard plays. If Smith Rowe comes out and Odegaard plays in the central role, or maybe if Odegaard goes onto the wing, but then that would mean Pepe or Saka would have to come out. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. But Lacazette playing very well these last couple of weeks. He's kind of got back into the form where he was at Lyon. He's been impressive, very impressive so far these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Harper, what were you gonna? What was your?
That was mine. Chelsea and Arsenal played. Was it
Boxing Day?
Was just after Boxing Day. How far Arsenal were off Chelsea? They were saying Chelsea were title contenders. Well, some people were, and
Definitely
Arsenal. Arsenal now. True, and now they're level on points.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's credit to Arteta how well now they're playing.
Do we think there could be a late charge for them for Europe, whether it be Europa League or? I mean, I think it's probably going to be Europa League. I don't think they'll make Champions League. They're only 3 points off of European places now. Do we think they're?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Odegaard in now as well. He might bring something different. I think he needed a new challenge as well. So he goes in the Arsenal side, it might give him a bit of confidence.
Where would you play him if you were Arteta and you just signed him? Do we take Pepe out, or where does he go?
I think you have to have him sort of, depends what he plays. If he goes like a 4-2-3-1 maybe, or even if he goes 4-3-3, I think he's trying to just go in behind the striker. Don't know if he has the pace for the wing properly. Play him in behind. Shot Madison role maybe, and just let him drift about.
Yeah.
I think he'll be neat and tidy enough on the ball. So, and just let him pass away in there.
Yeah, I mean, we've obviously concentrated here on Arsenal, but I mean the Saints, Southampton absolutely dominated the game. I mean, look at the stats: 58% possession, 13 shots, 5 on goal. We talked about last week, or I made the point last week of no Ings, no Party. There was Ings obviously played this week, and he was substituted off.
Mm-hmm.
We think maybe Arsenal's defense maybe did an absolute number on them, or was it just maybe an off night again for something?
It probably is. They haven't obviously been losing Ings for I think it was for a couple of games, but I think they just need to get back into the swing of things. Obviously they started out well with Armstrong getting the goal, but obviously there's been a nick. Walker Peters has took a nick as well, so we'll find out how long it takes him to get back. I don't think it'll be that long.
No.
But it's interesting that Voikin's already started that game instead of who's their left back again? Merchant.
Bertrand.
Yes.
Bertrand. I think Bertrand might have took a nick as well. He wasn't on the squad at all. But
yellow card according to
yellow cards.
Right.
So it might have you can take that into account. It probably has an off day.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see indeed.
Yeah, I mean they're not doing too badly in terms of the Premier League either. If you look, they're 29 points. I mean they're sort of 4 points off of Everton at 7th. I mean that's 7th in previous seasons. That sort of got you a Europa League spot. So I mean they're not. I mean if you again put a bit of a run together, and they could definitely be up there. And they obviously have every chance of doing that there. I think with Ings and Shea Adams playing, or well with Ings anyway. If you were Hasenhüttl, would there be anywhere that you'd be looking to strengthen in terms of the squad? In the next few days, it's very unlikely.
Probably another creative player, I think, in midfield. Sort of, it's Romeo and Ward-Prowse. Ward-Prowse is creative, but I think sort of a flair player. Like Arsenal got Odegaard, maybe that type of. West Ham with Benrahma. I think we need that type of.
Yeah, I mean,
like that.
Obviously, Arsenal aren't going for Buendia from Norwich anymore, and I mean, it cost a pretty penny, but I'd like to see him in Southampton side.
Somebody like that. Somebody give another goal threat rather than just putting all the pressure on Che Adams and Danny Ings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Hasenhüttl likes to play a 4-4-2. Buendia has played out wide for Norwich last season, obviously. So I think he'd definitely been interesting signing, to say the least. So moving on from Arsenal Southampton to the mighty Leeds Newcastle at St James's Park, which finished up 2-1. I think, I mean, as a Leeds fan, obviously, I give massive credit to Newcastle. The second half, they came out with a rocket up their backside, and really changed the game. They absolutely dominated us in the second half. But again, however you said that Bruce's time is definitely numbered, and I'd have to agree. They're not numbered. He's on borrowed time, I think, and I'd have to agree.
Yeah.
Why didn't Bruce play like that from the off? That they could, give Leeds a game.
They probably started off, knew Leeds would come flying at them. Probably thought, right, we'll sit in here, play tight, contain them, get through the first 15-20 minutes, and then see how we get on. That plan didn't really work. And and then Leeds sort of got a foothold in it. And Leeds then took control, scored the goal, and then as you say, second half then. Like I'm reading that stat there, Newcastle in that game had 22 shots and Leeds had 9.
Yeah,
That's a crazy stat.
it should be the other way around. from what we expect.
Leeds dominated possession, so I don't know. That's a weird how that works. Like how they had so many more shots that Leeds dominated.
I would assume that the shots maybe were sort of pop shots.
It could have been. But as you say, he's in borrowed times. But it was a great result for Leeds. St James Park's still a tough place to go, no matter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Newcastle are playing per round.
Yeah, I mean, I think confidence definitely was a massive thing for Newcastle. I just see them in the first half, and they just couldn't string a pass together. They were just so short of confidence. Just didn't want to know. I think question for the both of you. Harrison and Rafinha again turning up. Rafinha in particular really turning out to be a really good bit of business, I think, for us. If you were Man City in the summer, Harrison obviously scored there against Newcastle. Would you let Harrison go, or would you hold on to him?
I think they will let him go. I think yous will probably come on and get him. You'd like to hope anyway.
Yeah, I think we have an agreement in place anyway.
Have you stayed up or something?
He's got
something like that. Yeah, we made another agreement anyway. Sorry, can I go ahead? Sorry.
Well, he's been very well. Harrison's done great. Rafinha scored every time. I think he's wore the third kit. So
yeah, I think it's something like that. Yeah, that's right.
I think he needs to start wearing that more. You maybe put an argument on the reason that Harrison did so well down that left hand side was because Isaac Hayden was playing right back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he's done very well. I think the difference in that entire second half, the one man made that difference, Alan Saint-Maximin. He came on and absolutely, I don't know what she's were doing. Island defended him well at some points, but he's just let him come up. He's just let him come on these, which was probably just a defensive tactic, just to slow them down really and not get them through. But I don't understand why Saint-Maximin ain't starting every game for Newcastle. He's coming off the bench.
He's just back from COVID.
Yeah, I think it was the injury.
COVID,
yeah,
to be fair, but I think they need to know after seeing him play that second half, he has to be their main. He has to play. He'll have to be on that pitch 24/7. All in all, great, very good performance from Leeds. Again, impressed.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead.
I was going to say about the Harrison and City thing. I seen that argument on Twitter. It was should City bring him back? He probably could, but whether he gets the game time then would be the problem.
Yeah,
I'm sure he could be able to do a job if he filled in there an odd game, but he'd probably be a bench player. Probably better if City did let him go. Leeds held on. He's going to play every week.
Yeah, exactly. And particularly play every week under Bielsa. I mean, he's been one of the many success stories for Leeds under Bielsa in terms of improvement. Going back to Newcastle, there's 6 from safety. But I think Fulham have maybe 1 or 2 games in hand, so that can be immediately cut out. So I think we're definitely right when we say that Steve Bruce is on borrowed time.
I think even if he keeps them up, I still think the fans aren't even going to accept that.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I think the argument was always doing the same job as Rafa, but the difference was when Rafa was in charge, they were so defensively stable. You know, your 2 banks of 4, and you knew what you were coming up against, and you still couldn't do anything about it. Would they be wise to go back for Rafa, or would Rafa come back? I think maybe is my better question.
I don't think so. I think I think stuff on Twitter about that saying would that ever happen, but I don't know how Mike Ashley would be able to make peace with each other again. The fan, it'll be interesting to see the fans would want that. I suppose we need a Newcastle fan to answer that, but also shout out to Rafinha, or Rafinha, whatever you want to call him. He's playing great. Hoping he continues to play like that. somebody so-called the big Leeds are a big club, but one of the top
But
top four, top six. Obviously needs to keep playing the way he is. If you come in for him, he's that type of player.
Yeah. I'm hoping to God that he don't, because he's such a talent. Like every time he gets in the ball, he's trying something. I think. I mean, I'm going back to October time whenever he came off the bench and made his debut against Aston Villa, and obviously Villa that night weren't at the races. But every time he got the ball, he was trying to pass, or he was making a run. You know, he's a really electric player.
How was he missed though? Like how did nobody sign him? And then Leeds,
I mean, I think
that's sort of Leeds. Every team maybe knew it was a risk, but Leeds paying off for Leeds. Maybe I don't know.
I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I think it goes back to Victor Orta as the director of football at Leeds, and then of course Bielsa just doing his astute sort of research on him. You know, I mean, I don't know, 17 million in today's money, obviously, it's just mental for a player that's tearing it up. But yeah, I mean, long may it continue. Obviously, touch wood.
Yeah.
There we are, just in case. So I think moving on from Leeds to your favourite side in the Premier League, Everton. Everton draw 1-1 against Leicester. I think we're always going to come on to Everton, but I mean Leicester again. Brendan Rodgers, you have to tip your hat.
Watched the first half. Brilliant again. It's so fun to watch. They're so well balanced. John Evans at the back and Didi in front of the back four. And then, as I was saying, what West Ham are starting to do, they've that balance, good solid defence, and they have the flair players up top. Just they go and score goals. I think in another day, Leicester would have won that game. I think they're a bit unlucky.
Yeah.
They'll probably get Europa League, but there's no reason why they can't hope they might sneak a top four place.
Yeah. I mean, and this is also without Jamie Vardy. Sorry, Klein. But that's also without Jamie Vardy. I mean, if they have Vardy in that game, I think it's probably a done deal.
If they keep everybody fit, they'll have a chance.
Yeah. Sorry, Klein, going ahead there. Sorry, I interrupted.
Well, they completely dominated the game. Realistically, they had 65% possession. Just couldn't get it. I think they had how much shots on target? I think they only had six out of 19 shots, 6 on target. They need to get more. Obviously, we've already in that game instead of Perez. They could have easily, most likely, got more on target. I think it was just an all-around. They just had an all-around good game. Schmeichel played very well. Again, Justin coming in playing very, very well. Very, very impressive. I had a rapid improvement out of nowhere. Came from really nothing to being really, really good player. You have to look at that their side. The fact that I don't like Everton playing that many centre backs. They're playing 4 centre backs realistically in their defence. I do. Obviously, Holgate and Godfrey are not slow. They're pretty quick players, but Danye has been such a big point in their side that they is playing the left mid now. He's been so creative. It's odd to see where they're playing some players. I think from what they've seen, from what it looks like there, it's a 4-4-2 they played. Richarlison on the wing and Rodriguez playing striker alongside Calvert-Lewin. I think the multiple different formations they've played is going against them. I think they're just playing nearly a different formation nearly every couple of weeks. But maybe it goes back to fitness of some players. That the reason they're not playing wing backs. Maybe it's just the talent of Holgate and Godfrey, but it's. I think they do need. I think Everton need to change something. They're playing well, undoubtedly. They're playing their good side.
I mean, I think I would argue that point. I mean, a point was raised by a Liverpool fan that I'm close to. They said why Everton are such a negative side. I mean, if you look at the stats, I don't have the stats on hand, but the stats were just all Leicester.
They were.
Does Ancelotti not trust his players?
He might want to go 2-2 with Leicester at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But even at that, if you don't want to go 2-2, that's not, the fans won't accept that. I think it's just Leicester, were just just a superior side.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter, even if Everton change this, change that, they wouldn't even believe. So they got a draw in the end, which is they'll be happy with that. But it probably feels like a loss for Leicester.
Yeah, I would say so. Yes, it's as you say, it's a loss. It's sort of 2 points dropped rather than a point gained.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of the opposite for Everton.
Yeah. So moving on from Everton Leicester to sort of, well, if you look at the stats, sort of a dud of the weekend. I know you're Harper, you're going to disagree there. Sort of for the last 20 minutes particularly. Brighton Fulham 0-0, but it shouldn't have been 0-0.
Not from what I've seen of the game, definitely not. Most parts, it was like Brighton had Fulham pegged back. Cross after cross coming in. His keeper made a few good saves, and then the dying seconds, Fulham went up the other end, and Dunk cleared it off the line. You could ask both managers whether they probably would be happy with a point apiece, but might have been an opportunity missed as well.
Yeah,
sort of like break away from that bunch of teams down at the bottom.
Yeah, I think that's probably the case for Brighton, and then for Fulham, it's sort of we could
Just
have
hang in there.
We could have got that step closer maybe to sort of catching Brighton and the likes. I mean, Brighton dominated by the stats. Klein, what about? I mean, Potter obviously they beat us as hard as that is for me to say. Potter's definitely playing good football as we discussed last week.
Yeah. As again, I'm a fan of what he's been doing. It's a good. Seems it's a great system. Obviously, they've now solidified the fact that Sanchez is going to be their goalkeeper. We loan him around Arsenal.
What a hectic transfer that was.
That is a weird one because they don't really need him. But
yeah.
Whatever. They have another backup instead of Ragnarsson. It's interesting. Basuma's obviously back in the squad after being out for a wee bit, wasn't he? I think they left him out a couple of games from starting. McAllister again has been playing pretty good, very good football. Impressed after being quite a slow start in my mind. The combination of Mopai and Trossard up front working very well. Just unfortunately, no one could get a goal. Maybe that it comes to the point where they might need to target another. They do need to target another striker. With Mopai, obviously they do have Conley in there, but Conley, they can't really say Conley's a Premier League big time starting striker. Obviously he's came in and played okay. He's had times where he's been very good, but I think they need to definitely target a striker. Maybe bringing someone in from the Championship who has had a good season. Couldn't really tell you many because
Armstrong. I think Armstrong seems to be really. It was suggested and worked to me there last week. Would I take Armstrong at Leeds? It depends on the price, I suppose. But I mean, it's a good option for Brighton, obviously.
Someone will again. Then it's risky again. Bringing obviously Ollie Watkins has done well with Villa, but it's taking that jump up again. Is he really going to be much better than Mopai or what they have? I can see your point.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, he's a goal scorer in the Championship, so he could make the jump, but it's a question of will he. We obviously focus on Brighton here, but Fulham 5 points behind Brighton, but they have a game in hand. It's all to play for, obviously. However, I think the big telling stat for Fulham is that they haven't won the league in 10 games, and it's been basically all draws galore, really. But I mean, I don't think defense is a problem. I mean, they haven't been absolutely thumped by
No.
anybody. Yes, there's been maybe a 3-0 against Burnley, but there's no real like sort of West Brom conceding 16 goals at home in
No.
4 games.
Mm.
The attack seems to be the problem.
They don't have a striker. That's really the point. Mitrovic is too much of a risk to play because he's just too dirty of a player at this point. Cavaliero's been falling at the striker role by the looks of it. They're playing an interesting 3-4-3 that it's been looking at. Maybe playing Bobby Reid, bringing Bobby Reid, maybe give him a chance at striker. I know they've been playing him on the wing a lot. As you say, defensively they've been pretty well. Bringing in Anderson and your English boy Tossin. I know that's his first name, but I forget his last name.
Adebayo,
wasn't it?
That's
something like that.
right.
From City.
Good signings. I know Anderson's only in on loan from Lyon. Maybe they could make it permanent at the end of the season. But they've been pretty good. It just can't get a win. I think they just need. If maybe in the next couple of days they don't have. Maybe that's the point too. They don't have the money to bring in a striker. They just need to try something. They just need to try maybe something to move about the players, give them another chance, some other position. But they've been, other than not getting the wins, they've been a good side.
Yeah.
It says a lot. They've 1-10.
Yeah.
And they won their game in hand. They're
2 points behind
outside from getting out of the relegation zone.
It's telling about the rest of the teams around them as well.
Yeah, but fair play to Scott Parker. Probably not his biggest fans, but he's got them playing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll tip my hat when I have to, and I definitely do. He's got them. He's improved them compared to what they were at the start of the season.
Like you can see them staying up, like the way you can't like.
Yeah, well, it's so tight down around there. I mean, even up as far as. I mean, if Leeds went on a few games of a losing, sort of not getting results, Leeds could be dragged back into it, and that's as far as 12th.
You could look right up. You could look right up to 14th, 15th there, Palace and Burnley.
Yeah.
Actually, no, we'll take it up to 12th. We'll throw Leeds in.
Take it, exactly. It's always possible with Leeds. That's sort of it. So I mean, both teams have it in them to stay up. It's just a question of. Can they? So I think moving on from one side of London, or one team in London, to our favourite team in London, as a collective in Chelsea, who took us first game in charge, 0-0 against Wolves. Chelsea dominated. I think we're going to focus more on Frank Lampard and that side of things, but Chelsea absolutely dominated. I don't think Wolves had a shot on target.
No, they didn't.
No,
they had the crossbar, but that doesn't.
That doesn't finish it. But I mean, that was it. But they only had 4 shots in the whole game. I mean, we talked last week about Raul Jimenez being a big miss for Wolves. Is that the case, or is it just maybe Wolves not getting it right?
I think I was even saying last week. I think it's a bit more than that. Their individual players just aren't playing as they used. Like Adama Traore looks back, they just awful.
Yeah. Definitely.
Imagine if somebody paid for him and somewhat with the figures, like 80 million.
Well, you blew the head off.
Like if you look at that team, the minute Neto's probably the only thing you look and say right, they have a player there. Even Ruben Neves in midfield, he was getting rumoured as well. He's going to the next big thing.
Yeah.
Suppose you're going away to Stamford Bridge as well.
But I suppose it's not the fortress it once was, but it's also the first game for Tuchel, so
sort of in general for Wolves, they just haven't been great this year.
Very true.
But they went and got a result. They could have nicked it in the end. They could have got the 3 points.
Yeah. Talking now about Chelsea. Just what do we think? I mean, no Mount, no James, and no Reece James and no Tammy Abraham in the starting lineup. Is that what's the word I'm looking for? Is that sort of a stand and sort of maybe a petty stand by Tuchel?
Yeah.
Or is it that Frank Lampard stood by those three in particular in terms of the youth, and it's bit on the backside.
Yeah, first.
Well, what I think what he wanted to do was come in and I think for his first game he needed to go away experience. I think he needed to go away experience on his first game. That's probably what he did. Players that have been in the club. Well, obviously, you can't really say that about Havertz and Ziyech, but they've. I think he just needed to go. Yeah, right. These are going to be. They're going to give me the surest bet. These players right from the off. Obviously, we asked Aspilicueta coming on instead of Reece James. Obviously, Aspilicueta's been a great player for many years at Chelsea. I think it is the fact that it definitely, in my mind, it's an experience factor that he did off the start. I don't think it was being, it might have been petty. I don't think it was though. I think he just had a game plan of come on and get experience on the field and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, well, he brought them on later on. Sorry, Harper, go ahead.
I agree with Klein saying there. I agree with leaving out Mount. Mount's getting all this hype and
yeah.
What?
What's not what has he done? I mean, he's obviously he's a Premier League player, but should he be able?
The only one I disagree with is leaving out Reece James. Aspilicueta's done. Aspilicueta's finished.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing games this season, boys are just running past him like he ain't there.
Yeah.
I suppose maybe he's playing three at the back. Maybe that's why he wants Aspilicueta in there.
Yeah, because obviously Aspilicueta worked quite well. As a three at the back whenever it came to Antonio Conte and that side of things, sort of playing that 3-4-3. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how Tuchel does with Chelsea. But I think we're going to dedicate this last sort of few minutes to, in some people's minds, the greatest manager of all time to get sacked, Frank Lampard. I'm pushing Chelsea fans' buttons, I know. Here's a question. I mean, I've got an argument for the good, and I know that he's obviously, and I deep down think he did a bad job. He brought the youth through. That was what Frank sort of did. Obviously, in his first season, he did that, and sort of was a free hit. But in the end, was the youth the downfall for him, as I've just discussed there, sort of briefly?
Well, what I think is, obviously, playing the youth more is going to leave you with inexperienced factors. Keep on experience, but I think he did well in the fact of the players he brought in. I think the standard of players that came in from where they were, not as to what they played at Chelsea, but as to what the players they were at their teams before. But I just think it was a job that was too early for him. It really was too early. I think they needed to either stay at Derby, maybe. I don't know if Derby sacked him. I don't even remember. But
no. I think
they just left.
He sort of left him with consent.
He should have. I think he should have stayed at Derby, maybe another couple of seasons, or came to a Premier League team with. I think he needed to just go from a lower thing with Premier League side, maybe a Newcastle, maybe a Palace, something like that, and gain his experience as a manager before going to Chelsea.
Yeah, sort of get his badges. I mean, Harper, what do you think? Do you think he would have done a better job than, say, Roy Hodgson did at Palace now, or Steve Bruce is doing at Newcastle now?
I think he should have took, as Klein said, I think he should have stayed with Derby, or even took the Gerrard route. I think even going to the Premier League at all, I think might have been too big for him. In terms of youngsters, I think he'd probably done the right move playing them, but it looks like he's just thrown players on the pitch and thought, right, they know what to do, they can do it. I don't think he was tactically right.
No. Yeah, that was
times they just looked lost.
Yeah, that was the big argument. There was a big thread on Twitter that I sort of sent to a Chelsea fan that I know, and the point was that in the end it was all down to backroom or sort of backstage, politics within
Yeah.
the club that Frank wasn't quite used to. I mean, I made this point, and we're about to wrap up, and there's an argument that Mount was their best player, and that obviously, Harper, that's your point, is that's the big problem, that whenever you're resting your laws and Mount, that's a problem. This is going to sound mental because I love Bielsa with all my heart, but I'd have, in terms of the squad that Chelsea have, this is going to sound a bit mad. I'd have liked to seen sort of Bielsa's style under that with that Chelsea squad. It's just a point I'm putting out there. But yeah, Frank Lampard was arrogant. No, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Frank Lampard was arrogant before he'd even done anything in management. Obviously, he's an unbelievable player, but to have that arrogance coming into management with only just about getting Derby into the playoffs is a wee bit silly. So sort of concluding bits, just to sort of wrap us up.
I think Abramovich wanted the league this year. We're near at the start, but they've just fell off. Fell in work. Chelsea fan. He was saying to me the day that he thinks Lampard was never going to be there for long term. He thinks he was just thrown in there, set up to fail. That could be true, but he was given 200 million.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he spent that money. Yeah. He did. He spent a lot of money, and it all backfired on him, and he wasn't really good enough, to be honest. Clive,
go ahead. Let Clive go ahead.
Well, as I say, I think he was thrown on the deep end. Probably, as Greg said, maybe just to set up as Kai said, even just to set up the field. But I don't like him as a manager. But
at least you're honest.
The least you could say is good luck to him in the future and see where he goes next. But I think Tuchel was the right hire for Chelsea after this. Now we'll see now what happens at Chelsea. You can't really say as a Liverpool fan that you want them to do better, but good luck. See what happens. We'll see what.
We'll have this conversation again. 18-month contract.
Yeah,
I'd be I wouldn't be surprised they jump ship again
in the summer.
If your Julian Nagelsmann's there, your Rodgers is there.
Yeah.
Why give him an 18-month contract? That doesn't make sense.
That is very odd.
I mean, I seen a Chelsea fan, sort of he's big on YouTube, sort of say that he wants Abramovich gone, and I'd be curious to see sort of maybe in the comments or whatever on Twitter what other Chelsea fans think of that, because not being funny, but Abramovich has brought them.
Be careful what you wish for. Yeah,
a mad amount of success, and then who comes in for them? I mean, do you get American owners? Do you get whoever? I mean, whoever's going to come in, I don't think they'll put up the same money that Abramovich has.
Not a chance.
No, definitely
not. So yeah, we don't like Frank Lampard, which is obvious. Good luck to him. Didn't really care if he went or not. I wanted to see him go because it'd put a.
Bielsa can bring him in, number
2. Just to see his face, I would love to see him as sitting on Leeds bench as Bielsa's second-hand man. Oh God, I'll be getting relegated. I'm just thinking.
Has Bielsa had a press conference since Lampard's got sacked?
I think he has, and he was. I seen a quote, and he did say that he was as always quite respectful about him. I would have liked to see him sort of mention the Spygate, but
inside he's probably like, get out.
Exactly, he's like he went before I went. So yeah, that's us. That's another weekly podcast completed. Thank you all so much again for watching. We'll be back next week for once again double round, but mainly focusing on the midweek fixtures.
2 big games this weekend.
There's obviously Arsenal United that'll be 2-1 again. And yeah, that's us. So thank you very much for watching. We hope you enjoyed. Again, please like, comment, subscribe, all that. Follow us on Twitter as well. That'll be in the description. And yeah, thanks very much.
Cheers.